Hello, today I'll show you how to use operators in Scratch. As you can see, these are the operators on the left. So let's get started. First, we have the addition, which is basically adding numbers together. Subtraction, basic subtraction like this. Multiplication like this. And division like this. Then we have pick random, which, as the name suggests, it picks random of this number to this number. And it can even use negatives like this. Then we have the greater than block, which is if this is greater than that, it will be true, but if this is less than that, it'll be false. And this can be used for if blocks, if else's, wait untils, and repeat untils like that. Then we have the less than, which is basically if this number is less than this number, then it will be true, but if it's greater than, then it will be false. Then the equal block, which is basically this is exactly this, it will be true. If it's not, it will be false. And it can even be used for letters, or even a combination. Then the AND, which is basically both of these have to be true, like this. So 50 equals 50, both true, all of it will be true. One is false, it will all be false. And you can stack these, and the same thing will apply. Then the OR block is at least one of these is true, it will be true. So like this equals 50, this doesn't, but one of this is true, one of this is false, but overall it will be true. And you can also stack them like this. And you can even have combinations like this. So this is true, which means this is also true, which means all of it will be true. Now the not is basically 50 equals 50, it's true. Not, it'll convert to false, basically flipping it. This is false, it'll be true. Now the join basically joins two texts together. So like 1, 2, 3 plus banana, or join by banana. Then it will join all of it together. Numbers can be joined, letters and numbers, anything joined by anything like this. Then letter 1 of, which is A of this, letter 1 of this, and in this case apple would be A, and it also works for numbers like this, unless if it's. Then we have length of, which suggests how many digits or text there is in one of these. And spaces do count. So if I place in a bunch of spaces, they count. This works with numbers and letters, or a combination as well. Then we have contain, which checks if this contains that. So if cheese contains A, then it will be false, but if it contains E, then it will be true. And you can check for if it has any words like this. Then the mod, which is basically like a loop system. So 1 would equal 1, 3 would equal 3, 4 would equal 4, but 5 would loop back to 0. And then 6 would be 1, and then on and on. Like that. Then round, which is basically rounding decimals. Like 5.5 would equal 6, 5.9, 6, 5.2, 5, basic rounding. Now this, the absolute of. Absolute of is basically changing any negative number into a positive number, and any positive still to positive. And if you want to change any positive number to a negative number, just use the multiplication system. So like 5 times negative 1, it would equal negative 5, but negative 5 times negative 1, it would equal 5. Basic integers, basically, or just math. Then floor, which is basically 5.9, almost a number almost to 6, but it will still become 5 with the floor. Ceiling is basically the complete opposite, 5.1, really close to 5, but if you click, as long as there's a decimal, it will become the next whole number, which would be 6. Now square root of 4, which would equal 2, because 2 times 2 equals 4. And square root of 10, which would equal this, and that number times itself would equal around 10. By around, technically exactly 10, but scratch isn't the most accurate, but it works. Then we have sine, which is basically trigonometry. It's basically the length of this side divided by the length of this side, or basically the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. And then this would be the angle, which would be the value in here. So like 45 would equal this, 90 would equal 1, because then both would be the same, like this. And then cosine, which is basically pretty short this side divided by this side, or the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. And this would still be the angle, which is the value of this place. Then we have tangent, which is basically the adjacent divided by the opposite. Yeah. Then asine, which is basically sine of this, sine of 45, which would equal this. And if I type in around that, it will give 45, basically reverting it back like this. Then, and same for a cosine and a tangent. Then in, which is basically any number to the power of e, would equal to your input, so this, and then if you find e to the power of, so in of 10 would equal this, 2.3 around, then e to the power of that would equal around 10, or just 10. And this is very similar to log, which is basically what to the power of 10 would equal 10. So 10 to the power of, let's say, log of 50, this number to the power of 10 would equal 50, or around 50, like this. Or like 12, it would equal around 12. 10 would equal 10. And then e to the power of is basically e to the power of 1, which is basically E-ruler's number, 2.71. And then this e times itself 10 times. 10 to the power of is also the same. 10 to the power of 1 would be 10. 10 to the power of 2 would be 100, because 10 times 10. And now, by the end of this, you should know, or at least get a better understanding of operators in Scratch. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day.